This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Spring training 2021, right about at the midway point. And this afternoon from Roger Dean Stadium, it's the Washington Nationals and the St. Louis Cardinals. Welcome to our St. Louis-based Fox Sports Midwest studios. Brad Thompson, Dan McLaughlin with you. Great to have you along on this Monday afternoon. And Brad, it's, again, the midway point, so now you're starting to get some of these storylines developing for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, and certainly one of the biggest storylines has been the outfield, right? Who is going to end up taking advantage of that? And this man right here, Tyler O'Neill, well, he has been doing that. Look at these rankings. This isn't just on the Cardinals. This is Major League Baseball, spring training. He's crushing the baseball, and Dan, one of the best things that we've seen, him driving the ball the other way.
Tyler O'Neill is in the lineup today. O'Neill, Nagowski, Thomas, Kisner, Rondon, all making a case to try to make this team.
That's it. It's about making an impression, right? You got a couple of these guys. You knew Lane Thomas was going to be in the mix for ABs and playing times. Love seeing what Nagowski has been able to do. Kisner, who knows what the opportunities look like, but a lot of guys showing up big time.
Well, we're looking forward to the matchup in terms of pitching because on one side, the St. Louis native, three-time Cy Young Award winner, Max Scherzer. On the other side, it's John Gant.
Yeah, well, Max Scherzer, look, it's a treat anytime you get a chance to see him pitch, but John Gant is making that bid to be the fifth starter in the rotation. You look the way that the days play out, he is likely to be that guy, but he's got to continue to earn it. You know this in talking to John over the years. This is what he wants to do. This is the opportunity that he wanted to have to be a part of the rotation, so he'll get another crack at it today.
Many of the regulars are in that starting lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals. Sit back, take it in. Should be a lot of fun. The Washington Nationals, the St. Louis Cardinals, next. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. By Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life. We're your shield. We're your shelter. And by Ford, the official car and truck of the St. Louis Cardinals. Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Spring training home for the St. Louis Cardinals. It's the Nats and the Cards on Fox Sports Midwest. 80 degrees, partly cloudy. And with Brad Thompson, I'm Dan McLaughlin. And there's a look at Dave Martinez, the skipper of the Nationals, trying to have a bounce-back season after the truncated 60-game season the year before. They won the whole thing.
Yeah, kind of a weird one for the Nationals last year, wasn't it? They win the World Series. You don't have that tour where everybody, you get to show off as the champions. They had a rocky year last year, but they've got a talented bunch.
Cardinals take the field for Mike Schilt. Cardinals are 4-5-3. Gorgeous day down in Jupiter, Florida. We're in our studios here in St. Louis. So sit back and enjoy a little Cardinal baseball as John Gant trying to make his case for the rotation again this year.
This is an opportunity that John Gant has wanted. We both had the opportunity to talk to him over the years, and he would like to be a starter in the big leagues. A couple of years back in 2017, he started 19 games, but with Miles Michaelis being at least on the shelf at the beginning of the season, John Gant's got himself a good opportunity here, and I'm looking forward to this one.
The lineup for the Nationals, Andrew Stevenson at the top, the speedster, the shortstop Trey Turner, always a treat to watch even at a young age. Juan Soto, Ryan Zimmerman, the face of their franchise, back for another season. Starlin Castro, Gerardo Parra, Alex Avila, that was one of their signings that they made in the offseason. Jordy Mercer, the former Pirate. Yasmani Tomas is the designated hitter. Well, John Gant, you mentioned the numbers from a few seasons ago, those 19 starts in 2018. The Cardinals were 8-11 in those games. His ERA respectable, about 3.5. Opponents only hit .219 against him as a starter. Didn't have a lot of run support, but he's been so valuable, Brad, as a reliever. You hate to see him go from the bullpen to the rotation, but out of necessity and maybe for the betterment of his career, this is what the Cardinals will do.
Yeah, certainly. And who knows how long that opportunity will be there. Look, if he throws the ball really well, maybe it ends up being a whole season. Fortunately for the Cardinals, when it comes to taking care of the bullpen on the back end, well, you've got Reyes, who we're likely to get an opportunity to see in the game today. Hicks is back. What an impressive at-bat that was yesterday in his first Grapefruit League appearance. But there are guys to cover their innings, so they have some depth.
And the first pitch by Gant is a strike, and we're underway. Andrew Stevenson out of Lafayette, Louisiana. The 26-year-old played at LSU, former top pick by the Nationals. 0-2 the count. Last year hit .366 in just 15 games.
It was Stevenson instead of Soto starting in left field at the beginning of the season. Soto was on the COVID IL, and Stevenson got the nod.
And Juan Soto wound up winning the batting title a year ago, which does not get talked about a lot.
No, it was such a short season. I know a lot of times you look at some of the numbers and you throw some of them out. That was real.
Lifted down the left field line and out of play. John Gant, good fastball, usually in the mid-90s. He throws a Vulcan changeup, which is a tough grip to get, and a very good curveball. The 1-2 pitch. Did you ever mess with the Vulcan changeup in that grip?
I did. I messed with a little bit of everything in Double-A. I got to Double-A and only had sinker slider. And I needed something, and I messed with a regular split finger, the circle change, the Vulcan, a little bit of everything. For me, the Vulcan never came out of my hand right. For John Gant, it's been something that's fit for him.
There's the curveball, and that's how we start this afternoon with a strikeout.
Well, pretty good start to the afternoon. Good 12-6 breaking ball. In this at-bat, you saw a little bit of the entire arsenal. First pitch was the slider, then the Vulcan change. Ends up finishing him off with the curveball there. And that's the thing when you think about John Gant in the bullpen. A lot of times, he wouldn't have a chance to get to all of these pitches. You give him free rein, you give him some innings to work with. There's a good arsenal there.
One out, nobody on. Trey Turner. Fastball taken just a bit low. Because the Vulcan grip and the changeup is so good for Gant, it gets a lot of the attention, and it takes away from what is a very good pitch, his curveball, which we just saw in the strikeout with Andrew Stevenson. So to your point, there is an arsenal there that's very good.
Yeah, I think it also, with all the talk about the changeup, it takes away from the first point that you made, that he's got a really good fastball in the mid-90s.
3-0. Now, of concern with Gant in those starts going back to 2018, he also made a handful of starts when he was a member of the Braves organization. Walks. You want to see him be more efficient, go deeper into games if this is indeed his role. And there's 4 pitches and a walk. The Cardinals defensively behind the right-hander, John Gant. Tyler O'Neill, Gold Glove winner in 2020. Bader in center, Carlson in right, Arenado also a Gold Glover. DeYoung, Carpenter, Paul Goldschmidt has won one, and we know Yadi's won a bunch as well.
Kind of like having all that gold around.
What should tell you, though, put the ball in play. Cut down on the walks. Throw strikes. You have what could be elite defense behind you. Runner goes. That's Turner. Yadi's throw is in time, but could not be picked by DeYoung, and a stolen base for Trey Turner. He's had a couple of seasons of 40-plus. He had 46 in 2017, 43 in 2018, 35 in the last full season of 2019. If he picks it, he might have got him.
Yeah, ball beats him actually by quite a bit. Good catch and throw there, but like you said, Trey Turner's been doing this for a while. To your point on the getting outs and getting them quickly, I think that this isn't something you look at just for John Gant, too. This is around the league. Remember, nobody threw innings like they did before. Efficiency is going to have to be a key this year. And we've seen Adam Wainwright, and look, Waino's been doing it for a long time, but he's been making short work of these spring starts just by throwing strikes.
He's just attacking everybody.
It's a good changeup there by Gant. The Nationals had two of the top hitters in baseball last season. Soto hit .351 to lead the National League. Trey Turner was fifth in average at .335. And he led the majors in hits with 78. But the rest of their lineup batted a combined .245. So they're looking to have some bounce back years from some of the players in their lineup. And the 1-1 pitch to Juan Soto.
Everybody clap your hands.
Kind of amazing when you look at the approach, and this happened as soon as he broke into the big leagues a couple of years ago. But Juan Soto, with all the accolades that he's already put up and all the numbers that he's already put up, only 22 years old.
It's unbelievable.
He's got such a veteran approach. He does not expand the strike zone much at all. You can't fall into a pattern against him. You get a nasty, ugly swing on maybe the changeup from Gant, I wouldn't go back to it right away.
High chopper. Gant off the mound. Fields it cleanly. And a flip to Goldie at first base. Turner advancing to third. And there's two away. And it brings in Ryan Zimmerman. The Nationals were the best hitting team away from home last year. Major League best average of .287. That was on the road. But they did not hit a lot of home runs, and they're hoping that that will change with Ryan Zimmerman back. Leads their club in home runs this spring with a pair. He is the face of their franchise. You can talk about Soto and Max Scherzer, but he's been there basically from day number one, the good and the bad.
He was their first draft pick, right? I mean, this is the guy that's been around. He's their all-time leader, franchise leader in hits, home run, RBI, among others.
And the 1-0 pitch to Ryan Zimmerman.
One of the bigger moves also that happened in the offseason, talking about the home runs and the lack thereof for the Nationals last year. They made a trade. They brought over Josh Bell from the Pirates, so they're hoping that boosts things a little bit for them. I thought it was a great deal, certainly at the time, and it looks like it could be a monster deal for them.
Kyle Schwarber came over from Chicago, and Zimmerman hits a high fly ball out to deep left. O'Neill will just look up and watch it sail away. 2-0. Nationals. The third home run this spring for Ryan Zimmerman. He's driven in 7 thus far, and it's 2-0 here in the top of the first.
And it's the first inning long ball that ends up biting John Gant again. This one a fastball, just belt high middle. Last time out for Gant against these Nationals, it was a 3-run home run in the first inning off the bat of Alex Avila.
Remember, Ryan Zimmerman opted out of last season. And I do wonder about certain players as Starlin Castro looks at a strike. Those that opted out, like Zimmerman or, let's say, Lorenzo Cain in the NL Central, just picking up where they left off. It's a full year off of Major League Baseball, and you say, well, what's the big deal? They've been around the game a long time, and there's an argument to be made about that. But still, as you know, Brad, I mean, having played at the top levels of this game, it's hard just to stop and then pick it up months later or a year later. Up the middle, DeYoung is there, couple of hops. Check that Carpenter, and he'll make the play. So Ryan Zimmerman, his third home run this spring. Half inning in the books, 2-0. Scherzer coming up. A lineup today against Max Scherzer. It's Carpenter, Goldschmidt, Arenado here in the first. Then DeYoung will bat cleanup. O'Neill, Molina, Carlson, Bader, and Gant. I think it's a treat anytime you get to watch this guy. I don't care if it's in the middle of March or the end of October. Max Scherzer, the St. Louis native, 3-time Cy Young Award winner. You think about all the big contracts that have been handed out in baseball, and Max's was 7 years, well over $200 million, and he's been worth every penny. He's been awesome.
I think it's safe to say he might be underpaid at this point with what he's done with that contract and just the overall idea of getting a chance to see him, see some of the all-time numbers here for Max Scherzer. The beauty of watching Max Scherzer and competitors like him, he's got the same intensity in this game that he would in the regular season, in the postseason. Like, he takes that out there to the mound with him every single time. That's what makes him special.
I love watching it. It's great. And how do other players feed off that? You would have to think that they say, okay, here's this guy who's headed to the Hall of Fame. There's a strike to Carpenter. And if he's doing it this way, and it's kind of like from the Cardinals' perspective of watching Yadier Molina go about his business for so many years in spring training, Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt. If it works for those guys, maybe I'm not doing something right. I need to follow what they're doing. And Scherzer is a workhorse. There's no question about it. 6 times he has had 200 or more innings. Came off the sore neck and back to make the Game 7 start to help propel the Nationals to the World Championship of 2019. Some thought it was going to be a violent delivery. Could you repeat this? Well, he's been just fine.
Turns out, yes.
3-2 pitch. Got him with the changeup. So comes back to get Carpenter and a strikeout.
Falls behind, goes to the changeup here. Really nice pitch, throwing it for a strike.
Now think about that. Middle of March, and you get a 3-2 changeup. That didn't happen, let's say, even 10, 15 years ago in spring training.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about it, first pitch of the game from John Gant. It was a slider to Stevenson. First pitch, you know, just stuff is changing, and it's changing rapidly. And the overall idea of, okay, let's get through one time around the order with my fastball, see if we can do that. The next time I'll establish the breaking ball. Forget that. I mean, it's kitchen sink. If you got it, you're going to show it off.
1 ball, 1 strike on Goldschmidt. So the Cardinals have been tinkering with flip-flopping Arenado, Goldschmidt, 3-4 in the lineup, and now in this case 2-3. That's fouled back. 2 strikes on Paul Goldschmidt, now in his 3rd season with the Cardinals. The Nationals had the 4th highest starter ERA last year, 5.38. They allowed a league worst 62 home runs. Opponents hit 287 against that rotation. There's a curveball yanked foul. So they've made some changes to their rotation, including John Lester signing as a free agent. You got Joe Ross, Austin Voth competing, but you've got the mainstays of Scherzer, Patrick Corbin, and Steven Strasburg had to leave their game a few days ago with an issue lower half, the calf, as Goldschmidt grounds out, and that's out number 2. But their pitching could be a strength, at least on paper. We'll see how it plays out. The defense, let's get a look at Trey Turner. He's at short. Jordy Mercer, former shortstop with the Pirates, he's at 3rd. Castro, former shortstop with the Cubs, he's at 2nd. Zimmerman at 1st. Avila behind the plate. Parra, Stevenson, Soto in the outfield. Here's Nolan Arenado with 5 hits this spring and still looking for that first Cardinal home run. And Arenado sends a high fly ball out to left field. Parra is under it and makes the catch. Cardinals go 1-2-3 after 1. Spring training baseball 2-0 Nationals. Brad Thompson has a look at today's Toyota key to the game.
Hey, go get it. And for John Gant, that's the 5th spot in the rotation. We talked about the fact that he wants to be in there. He wants to be a starter, has an opportunity here. Gave up a couple in the 1st inning, but got a chance to bounce back in this one. And honestly, go get it refers to a lot of people. There's bench jobs. There is, back end of the bullpen. Who's going to slide in, be the last guy? A lot of opportunity here with a little over 2 weeks left in spring training.
Here's Parra, who's back stateside. Up the middle. positioned perfectly. DeYoung in 1 pitch, 1 away. Parra last year played over in Japan. So 1 pitch, 1 out. That's how we start play here in the top of the second.
It goes 5-hole right here.
Oh, boy.
Paul DeYoung well positioned right there. Those are scary. Even if they're not 110 off the bat, anything that comes your direction looks like a white-hot flash. John Gant is good of an athlete, too, as you're going to find on the field.
Here's Avila. 333 this spring, 1 home run. He is driven in 4. And that pitch is strike. Last year with Minnesota, hit 184 in 23 games. Spent a lot of time of his career, which began in 2009 at the major league level with Detroit. Saw him briefly with the Cubs. He's had 2 stints with the Tigers, 2 years with Arizona. He's with the White Sox, Minnesota last year, and now with the Nationals. Some of their new additions there. Got the back end of their bullpen with Brad Hand. Pretty good deal for the Nationals.
Yeah, it was. Surprising that he was available.
Yes. Last year, Washington was 23rd in bullpen ERA. And ironically enough, for Davey Martinez's club, it actually was a full run better than the World Series team. The bullpen ERA of 2019.
Just didn't need the bullpen a ton in 2019 with that rotation they were rolling out there.
Got off to a slow start last year, could never get it going, and they finished well below the 500 mark, which also happened in their 2019 team. Slow start, then caught fire, won the whole thing. Curveball, adios. Second strikeout for John Gant. Here's that 12-6 bender. Think of a clock. And at the 12, down to the 6.
Just spinning like crazy, too, because it looked like that thing was going to hang up there for a little bit, and the bottom just dropped out of it.
Always liked Jordy Mercer. We saw him a bunch with the Pirates. He was just a steady player. Good player for Pittsburgh for a number of years. Their shortstop. Strike 1.
Would love to see Gant here respond just quick inning. Got the first 2 quickly. Go right after Mercer here.
Did not go. 1 ball, 1 strike. Signed as a minor league free agent back in early February. Came up with Pittsburgh in 2012. So he was on a couple of those teams that made it to postseason play with the Pirates. Up the middle, and a base hit for Jordy Mercer. 2-out hit. Yasmani Tomas, the designated hitter. It's up to the teams and how they want to play this. But at some point, you're going to have to start getting your pitchers in there to swing the bat. I'm sure with your Max Scherzers and some of the others, Steven Strasburg, guys that have, been ouchy, if you will. They're going to be very careful about spring training at bats and still using the DH. The Cardinals are going to have Gant hit today.
You do worry, though, about how long you lay off of at-bats in spring training, too, because you know the competitors that these guys are, and you bring up Max Scherzer as an example. Scherzer's not going to give in on an at-bat in the beginning of the season, right? So you want to make sure that he gets some real live game reps. That's the thing that I know around baseball they're worried about, these movements that pitchers haven't made in a while.
And Tomas skies one. The outfield grass. Second baseman today, Matt Carpenter, makes the catch. Nationals strand a man. We're midway through 2-0 Washington. Suit up for a brand new season at MLBshop.com and check out the 2021 gear. And shop the largest selection of official caps, t-shirts, hoodies, collectibles, and more. Gear up with the Cardinals. MLBshop.com. Batting cleanup, it's Paul DeYoung, then Tyler O'Neill, Yadier Molina. And the first pitch, just a bit low. Slow spring for Paul DeYoung. He's 2 for 20 with 8 strikeouts.
A couple guys in the lineup today you circle and want to see just start turning the corner. DeYoung, one of them for sure. The young Dylan Carlson as well. Kind of been a slower start for him in spring training, and Harrison Bader. Plenty of opportunities out there.
Max Scherzer, his ERA last year was 3.74. His highest in a season since 2012, and that was when he was with the Tigers. The hits allowed per 9 was about 10. That was the second high of his career. He had Patrick Corbin 2-7. He led all of baseball in hits allowed last year, 85. One of 5 pitchers to finish with 7 or more losses. So even with Scherzer, by the way, with those numbers that I'm talking about being on the bad side for him, they still weren't bad. I mean, he still was very good last year. And, you know, every time out, he could pitch you a gem. And a swing and a miss by Paul DeYoung. Active starters and the strikeout rate. Chris Sale, Yu Darvish now with the Padres. Jacob deGrom, always a candidate for the Cy Young for the Mets. Jack Flaherty on that list, top 5, and then Max Scherzer.
I'm really excited to watch Jack Flaherty go to work this year. It was a weird year last year, obviously, for everybody. Jack had multiple starts that were supposed to be scheduled, got pushed back, routine got all messed up, and he's not going to make any excuses. You know Jack, he's a competitor and wants to just succeed anytime that he's out there, but this is a year for him to go out there, hit the ground running.
Here's Tyler O'Neill. 10 for 21 this spring. It's exactly what the Cardinals wanted to see out of him. Have a chance to compete for the left fielder's spot and run with it. And he's doing that. Couple of home runs. He's driven in 8. And he's also driving the ball to right field a lot.
He's tracking the ball well. Even his takes are good. It's not like the front side's flying out on the takes or he's overly committed to pitches.
3 breaking pitches by Scherzer in this at bat. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Straight up in the outfield, shift on the left side of the infield. It's Starlin Castro, your second baseman, there in your screen. And there he is going to right, went down to get it, and a fair ball. Extra bases here for Tyler O'Neill. One out double, nice piece of hitting.
Hey, when things are going well, those things drop in, right? Extra bases are there for you. And this ball not hit extremely hard here by Tyler O'Neill, obviously, but does enough to stay on this thing. This is a pitch that he swings over a year ago. There's no question. So the adjustments that he's made, they're paying dividends.
He's got such a short, compact swing to the ball that they are trying to have him let it get a little bit deeper in the zone and take the ball to right if and when the opportunity arises. Now it's Yadier Molina. Game that we televised on Friday. Off the bat, it was 108 miles per hour, and he launched this. And in terms of exit velocity, that was one of the hardest hit balls he's had in the last 3 years.
It was pretty.
Yep. And time is called. Now that'll frustrate a pitcher, won't it?
Yeah, and probably not the pitcher you want frustrated, but it is spring training.
Yeah, it happens. And the 0-1 pitch with O'Neill at second. Took something off it, 0-2. Got variations of that breaking pitch too. The hard slider, cutter, breaking ball, and a mid-90s fastball. And he's coming at you with all different arm angles sometimes and body parts. I mean, he's so good to watch.
He's constantly evolving. I know Patrick Corbin talked about this as well when he just talks pitching with Max Scherzer, all the adjustments that he makes. You know, if it's a variation of a grip or an idea of kind of a different rotation with the hand. I mean, there's always something that you can get better at. And he's been great. It would be very easy for Max Scherzer just to say, you know what? This is working. I'm not messing with it. But he doesn't. He constantly evolves.
And the 0-2 pitch to Yadi. Hung that breaking ball, got away with it, yanked foul, and down into the Nats bullpen. Max Scherzer is 36 years old. Came up with the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2008. Oh, 2 again. And Yadi sends one out to center. Stevenson with the catch. O'Neill will stay put at second. And that's out number 2.
All right, gentlemen, bring him in.
Haven't focused much on Dylan Carlson. So camp hitting 182, but you'd have to pencil him in as your everyday right fielder. It's more been about, okay, you've had some injuries with the rotation. We know Miles Michaelis is out. KK is dealing with a sore back. Good news on him, by the way, from Mike Schilt this morning. It's been the battle in left field with Tyler O'Neill, Lane Thomas, backup catcher, and kind of quietly under the radar, it's been Dylan Carlson. Not a lot of focus on him. The top prospect of the St. Louis Cardinals. 2 outs, runner at second. Curveball misses down and in.
Well, if everything goes to plan, there should be a lot of chatter about him throughout the season. But you're right, it hasn't been exactly the camp that he wanted. But look, it wasn't the start to his major league career that he wanted either. But he went down to the alternate site, was down for about a week or so, made some adjustments, and came back just mashing the baseball. So you hope that he's able to make those adjustments again here soon. We were seeing a lot specifically early on with Dylan Carlson from this side of the plate, left-handed. A lot of change-ups that he was swinging over. The recognition got better, and you see the 12 games when he came back, the adjustments that he made.
1 ball and 1 strike on Dylan Carlson. Fastball taken high.
A lot of that stuff we were talking about early in the game, Dan, with Matt Carpenter, the changeup 3-2, first pitch of the game from Gant is a slider. These are all things that Dylan Carlson's adjusting to. You're not getting that stuff in the minor leagues. Like you're getting everything in any count.
Now that to me is the pitch I want to see him be more aggressive with this year. Now in the minor leagues you might get away with it because pitchers are just not as consistent around the strike zone, so you work a count. But there were a lot of pitches he let go by, and that's a hitter's count. That's 2-1, and it's right down the pipe.
Be ready for the fastball in those counts.
The 2-2. Ground ball slowly hit to the right side. Cardinals will strand a runner after the double from Tyler O'Neill. We have played 2. A Ryan Zimmerman 2-run homer the difference. 2-0 Nets. See the longtime radio voice of the Cardinals there pictured in the middle of your screen, Mike Shannon. As it was reported by Rick Hummel of the Post-Dispatch over the weekend, Mike had been hit with COVID-19 during the offseason. Very scary. Spent a couple of weeks in the hospital, but got through it and getting through spring training now. So good to see Mike down at the ballpark, and that'll be one of the great things that we have on opening day. A chance to say hello. Little elbow fist bump to Mike Shannon.
Yeah, Mike Shannon is one of those guys, and you've known him forever. But anytime you have the opportunity to be around him, he's got a story. He's making people smile, and he's an institution. So great to see him.
There's a ground out off the bat of Andrew Stevenson. John Rooney there on the right. Longtime producer, engineer, one of the great people affiliated with the Cardinals on the left, and that is Jim Jackson. But good news to have Mike Shannon recovering and and getting back on the mend, trying to get back to 100%. Said he's not quite at 100% yet, but slowly but surely getting there. He's doing therapy and various things to make sure he's ready to go.
If anybody's going to get back to 100%, it's that man.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing stopping him.
Here's Trey Turner. Has to be quick. Arenado is and makes the play. Shows off the arm. Gets the speedy Turner. 2 quick outs, and Juan Soto will be the batter.
Well, I really like what I'm seeing here out of John Gant here recently. Even 2 ground balls in this inning. Last inning, the strikeout and a couple of ground outs. Even the base hit was on the ground. John Gant bumped up the sinkers last year, about 10%. Ground ball rate, 62.9. I mean, it goes back to you saying early, Dan. Use the defense. You got some good gloves behind you. That's outs quick.
Big curveball. Beauty in there for a strike to Juan Soto. Hit a high chopper back to John Gant. It's first time up. He's 0 for 1. Wow.
I mean, think about that as a hitter. That thing's like over your head.
Yeah.
How do you commit to that?
That was Adam Wainwright-esque right there.
You think about this pitching staff overall. John Gant showing off the great breaking ball. You mentioned Uncle Charlie himself, Adam Wainwright. Alex Reyes has a phenomenal curveball, throws it hard as well. Jake Woodford can spin it really well also.
There's a good changeup. Adam way out in front. Now, this is the game within the game, and this is why I love the game of baseball. You have a guy like John Gant that has just thrown him a nasty breaking ball, mid-90s fastball, and the Vulcan changeup, but then you have one of the best hitters in the game that can make the adjustment in the at-bat, where some guys just can't. Curveball.
I was just going to say, to a guy that does not chase very much either. So a lot of times you see that breaking ball for a strike. You figure maybe he'll recognize the spin the next time out, offer at it if you could throw one down low. You also have the opportunity to throw something up in the zone here.
Wanted to go up, probably not that high, doesn't chase, and it's 3-2. So as a former pitcher, Soto at the plate, I don't care what age he is. He's awesome. What are you doing here on 3-2?
I'm going Vulcan change again. I'm going bread and butter right here, especially off of the fastball up. Look like he's going to go heater away.
Hit on the ground to Carpenter. John Gant enjoying a 1-2-3 third. Coming up, Bader, Gant, and Carp. Reminder that Hall of Fame balloting is open for you, presented by Edward Jones, now through April 17th. And cast your vote for your top deserving player. Another great field of candidates: Steve Carlton, Keith Hernandez, Matty Moe, Edgar Renteria, and Lee Smith. Talked to Matty Moe the other day up in Montana. He's been skiing. Lee Smith, talked to him the other day too, and he said, I'll tell you what, MLB Hall of Fame was pretty cool. He said, but going in the Cardinals Hall of Fame would be awfully nice too. One of my favorite teams growing up as a kid, listening to the game. So good luck to all those deserving candidates.
It was amazing that it took as long as it did to get Lee Smith into Cooperstown. And maybe it was just the idea of he did bounce around a little bit in his career, but the all-time save leader when he retired, obviously taken over by Hoffman, then Mariano Rivera, but incredible career, all those guys.
He was telling me that Major League Baseball called him to vote on the reliever of the year, which is now Trevor Hoffman or Mariano Rivera. And the person that called from the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame to Lee Smith said, you know, well, what do you think about this, that, and the other? And, you know, you're in the Hall of Fame. What do you think? And he said, well, I'm not in the Hall of Fame. This is a few years ago. Curveball, fouled back by Bader. And the person said, well, what do you mean? You're the all-time saves leader. And he said, I agree with you.
That's a good point you bring up.
He just made a great point.
Somebody tell the voters.
Right. So now he's in. He's gotten his due. And for the longest time, he was the all-time saves leader in Major League Baseball. 0-2 the count on Bader. The next by Scherzer. Got him. So strikeout number 3 for Max Scherzer. And John Gant, good luck. Good luck.
Hey, here's what I know about John Gant. If he gets a hit, it's a big one. He's got 2 major league hits in his career. Both of them are home runs.
So 1 out and nobody on. This could be a quick inning for Scherzer. We'll see.
And here's the real question is, are they up there to track some pitches? Have they been told, hey, don't cut loose. We don't need you hurting anything. Just want you to see some pitches up there. Or are they letting him swing it? They're going to let him swing it, I think, Dan.
Why do we not have the designated hitter across the board in Major League Baseball?
It's because it's a better game this way. I mean, that's just my thought.
I personally enjoy it too, but
you know it's inevitable, right? Like in the next CBA, or at least it's believed to be. I understand what you're saying.
Okay, 3 pitches. See you later. John Gant, no argument. That's 4 strikeouts for Max Scherzer. But you're going to see a lot of that this year in Major League Baseball. Remember, pitchers did not hit last year, so we're talking the last competitive at-bats that they took were all the way back in 2019.
Yeah, and the scarier part isn't just, okay, well, it's an instant out as soon as some of the guys get up there. But the scarier part is like the injury aspect of it, right?
Right.
Doing full-on swings or busting it out of the box. You worry about some lower body injuries for a lot of guys as well.
So 2 outs, nobody on, and Carpenter on the first pitch pops it up. Left side, out of play, and a souvenir. Carpenter is 1 for 18 this spring with 5 walks. Got his first hit of the spring over the weekend, a double off the wall. Playing second base today. Changeup taken low and outside.
Even for a veteran guy that has had all the successes that Matt Carpenter has in his career, you know that one felt good yesterday. I mean, he hit a few balls hard this spring, had nothing to show for it, kind of needed that one. Obviously, the role for Matt Carpenter changes drastically this year with Nolan Arenado picked up. He's your everyday third baseman. Tommy Edman looks to be your everyday second baseman at this point. So kind of fighting for at-bats wherever he can get them.
Even a more pronounced shift for Carpenter with 2 strikes and the 1-2. And Carpenter lifts a high fly ball out to deep right field. Soto back on the edge of the track and makes the catch. Cardinals go 1-2-3, 5 in a row set down by Scherzer. Ryan Zimmerman coming up when we come back. Ryan Zimmerman, Starlin Castro, and Parra for the Nationals as we move to the top of the 4th. 2-0 on a 2-run homer hit by Zimmerman back in the first. And there's strike 1. Here it is back in the first inning with 2 outs. 2-run shot after the walk to Trey Turner. Zimmerman knew it and put the Nationals on the board. The only run scored today. His 3rd of the spring. 0-2.
We've seen John Gant since that moment, though, settle in really well. The only hit was just a Jordy Mercer single up the middle on the ground. Tons of ground balls. Really efficient last inning, too. Only 9 pitches from John Gant.
You know what I'm excited about? Is when I get breaking news. When I have breaking news.
You have some right now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a tease. I'm going to wait until the Zimmerman at bat is through. Breaking news. And it's good news. Something I could not do last year.
Well, strike him out really fast. I want to hear this.
Ooh, doesn't get the call.
Nobody told Lance Barksdale we have breaking news, apparently.
I got breaking news. Are you excited?
I am excited, yeah.
Okay.
Good pitch right there, too.
And when it comes from Joe Strome and Martin Coco, Zimmerman, great piece of hitting and a base hit into right. So with 2 strikes, takes it the other way. So the Cardinals officially will release some single game tickets on sale for April. Now last year we weren't selling tickets, and you're going to hear about this probably in the next, well, maybe even later today, but certainly in the next 24 hours. So multi-game tickets will go on sale. You can purchase any 3 games. Wednesday, you'll be able to purchase any games during the month, and a limited number of opening day tickets are still available. So
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's sell some tickets and let's get back to the ballpark as that scoots away. But Zimmerman stays put. Now Ryan Zimmerman says, you know what, guys? Hey, it's March 15th. I'm good.
I'm going to save my bullets. You want me to score, hit one over the fence.
Yeah, I'm good. Isn't that nice to say, though? Tickets on sale.
It's huge. It is huge. I'm excited. I'm excited for opening day. I'm excited to just see, the festivities obviously going to be different this year than every other opening day, but people will be there.
Castro almost came out of his shoes on one that was up in the zone, popped it up, foul territory, catch made by Goldie. So Goldschmidt puts it away for the first out. And the batter will be Parra, grounded out to short. So just keep checking back at Cardinals.com for those tickets. Joe Strom and Martin Coco, longtime employees over the Cardinals, letting me know about that. Breaking news.
See if John can get himself another one of those ground balls, turn 2 here.
Something he was so good at. There's a good breaking ball coming out of the bullpen. That's why I love him in the bullpen. His sinker usage was up last year, the two-seamer, and got a ton of ground balls from that. So that's why his value is all over the board. I mean, as a starter, reliever, could close games out. A little bit of everything for the Cardinals. The 0-1 pitch. Kept in front by Molina. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, really, when you're looking at the bullpen right now, and maybe there's a spot up for grabs, but there isn't a guy that really profiles to that guy, right? All right, I need a ground ball in a pinch right now. Gant could definitely do that. Now, the Cardinals do have a ton of swing and miss in the bullpen, so that part of it is good. The depth overall is good, but having a guy that has the versatility like Gant has, that's huge for an entire staff.
The 1-1. Hit the other way and out of play. Listed to pitch today for St. Louis, potentially Andrew Miller, Tyler Webb, Genesis Cabrera, and one Alex Reyes, who has been sensational down in Jupiter. He has been the talk of camp. 4 innings, 6 strikeouts for Alex Reyes, and no runs allowed. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Hit the other way, base hit, beats the shift. And Zimmerman will stop at second base. We've seen really good 2-strike approach from both Ryan Zimmerman and Parra in this inning. Hit them where they ain't.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of those things with the shifts overall. We've seen the shift already pay dividends for John Gant. He had the one ball that went right through his legs. Paul DeYoung was there, but there are going to be times where you make a pitch and there's just not somebody there. It happens.
Here's Avila, who struck out looking back in the second inning. Gant has allowed 4 hits, 2 runs. He has not walked him in. Check that, walked 1, struck out 2. Curveball has been exceptional here today. Would you agree?
Yeah, he's got a really good feel for it. And a little bit of everything, honestly. I think that the sinker has been really good. But that pitch serves in multiple facets. I mean, he can get the swing and miss from it. He can steal a strike with it as well. Again, he's got that starter's arsenal that doesn't normally get a chance to show off as much out of the pen.
The 0-1. Ripped out to center field. Bader with the catch. Runners back to first and second. Out number 2.
The third baseman, number 27, Jordy Mercer.
Jordy Mercer will be the batter. He singled back in inning number 2. Throwing on the backfields for the Cardinals today, Jack Flaherty. Idea would be to get him roughly 5 innings if all goes to plan. Flaherty matched up with Max Scherzer his last time out.
They both look pretty good in that one, too.
Yes, they did. So 2 outs and 2 on. Good pitch. Strike one. May have crossed up Yachty. Not sure. He wants to visit with John Gant.
Well, luckily, with that guy, even if he is crossed up, he's so good that he'll make it work. But you want to make sure you're on the same page, certainly.
No balls, 1 strike on Jordy Mercer. Runners at first and second. Kept in front by Molina. Little bit of a shift on here with Carpenter near the bag at second. And Yachty doing what Yachty does, keeping that ball in front. There is an art form that Yachty talks about with not only blocking the ball, but it's almost like in hockey when you see a rebound from a very good goaltender. They're able to direct it or keep it in front.
Yep.
Deaden it. He's able to do that more times than not.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't kick off. He does something where he's able to, first of all, square up really well and soften the blow.
Out to left. O'Neill with the shades on makes the catch. Nationals strand a pair midway through 4. 2-0. Paul Goldschmidt leads it off for the Cardinals, then Arenado and DeYoung. Max Scherzer has allowed 1 base hit. He has struck out 4. And no walks, no runs. 2-0 Nationals on a 2-run homer hit by Ryan Zimmerman back in the first. Curveball misses up and in. And we're underway in the home half of the 4th inning.
It's the only pitch so far that Scherzer doesn't look like he's got full control of yet. He's missed arm side a couple of times with that thing. Hasn't hurt him yet. That's a better one right there. Good adjustment.
I think, though, if you're the Nationals, what you have been really happy to see, he has hit 96 consistently on the gun at times today. So velocity has been there. Here's a 1-1. Got a fastball there at 95 and hit out of play. But you think about how Scherzer throws, and I mentioned this earlier, a lot of arms and legs, kind of an unorthodox way of his business, of how he delivers. Some thought that this type of delivery was not going to be something you could consistently have. There's 96 on the gun. Well, he's perfected that. And then when he throws a changeup or the slider, breaking ball, fastball, pitch tunneling, everything coming out of the same spot, and that's what makes it so hard.
Yeah, oh, for sure. It's very hard to dial in on a pitch. There are some guys, you have a breaking ball that pops up, or even, I mean, these guys are so good. If you drop an inch or two on a certain pitch, they're going to be able to pick it up. He definitely doesn't do that. And the overall idea, too, Dan, with his mechanics, if you can repeat it, if you can repeat your delivery, you're going to be fine. Like the idea of everybody has to have the same idea of mechanics, or I hate that with like youth pitching. It's like, well, this is what you're supposed to do. Find out what works for a kid, how he's free and easy, and then find out if he can repeat it. Figure out ways to strengthen that part of it up.
Fastball at 97 from Scherzer. Strikeout number 5, and let's take a look at that delivery of Max Scherzer.
Just nice and compact. Generates a lot of power right there at the end. That's that violent kind of finish that he has to it. But see how slow and easy it is. That's always the thing to remember. Sometimes for pitchers, especially younger ones, when you're trying to throw the ball hard, everything speeds up in your delivery and you end up rushing to the plate. That's when your arm is late. It's just right at the end. Think fast hand more than anything else.
Scherzer is closing in on 3,000 strikeouts. He has 2,784 at the start of play. of this Major League season, regular season play. Lifted in the air to the gap in left center. Arenado will take a wide turn around first base. Stop there. Went down to get it. And the Cardinals have their second base hit of the day.
Well, I think Cardinal fans are going to get used to seeing this sweet swing of Nolan Arenado. Gets a breaking ball, hangs up a little bit. You see him just keep his head down the entire way on contact. A beautiful high finish.
Here's Paul DeJong, struck out swinging back in the second inning. So one out, runner at first, and a good fastball at 94. DeJong has been a little tardy against these fastballs here in spring.
It kind of looks like he's pulling off just a little bit. Remember last spring before everything got shut down, Paul DeJong was so dialed in and he was driving the ball up the middle and he was driving it the other way.
The 0-1. Max Scherzer, one of 11 pitchers in the history of baseball to have at least 8 seasons of 200 or more strikeouts. One of 11.
It's ridiculous.
He had 300 strikeouts in 2018. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Growing up in St. Louis, no surprise, grew up a big Cardinals fan. And the 1-2 pitch. Another strikeout at 96. 2 in the inning, 6 in the game. And I'm sure Max is happy to see his Missouri Tigers back in the NCAA tournament. Conzo Martin leading Mizzou back into the big dance.
It's about that time of year. Everybody gets their brackets going. That's always a big thing in the clubhouses as well. By all accounts, too, I believe that Max Scherzer is kind of the ringleader for a lot of those things.
Oh, yeah.
With basketball, golf, basically anything.
Yep.
Stuff like that, man, it like breeds camaraderie, too. Everybody likes having a rooting interest.
2 outs, runner at first. Here's Tyler O'Neill. He doubled with a soft liner just over the glove of Ryan Zimmerman. It was the first Cardinal hit back in the second. Arenado has singled this inning, only 2 today. Room on the right side. Max, a standout at the University of Missouri. And now in their Hall of Fame. And before too long, he'll be in baseball's Hall of Fame, undoubtedly.
Yeah, there won't be much deliberation over that.
Nope.
I believe that Max Scherzer was also the first ever first rounder from Mizzou.
The 0-2 pitch. Got him. Took something off it. 7 strikeouts in this game for Scherzer through 4 innings. 2-0 Nationals as we head to the 5th. It's always a treat, even in spring training, to watch one of the game's best. Max Scherzer. Cardinals 50-50 raffle is open for you now through the end of spring training. Just go to cardinals.com/5050. Chance to win thousands of dollars and raise money for Cardinals Care. Cardinals.com/5050. 5th inning rolls in for John Gant, 2-0. It's been well pitched on both sides. His one mistake really was the home run that he allowed to Ryan Zimmerman, and that's been about it. Yes, Manny Tomas. Remember when Tomas was signed by the Arizona Diamondbacks, got a major contract with them. Didn't really work out with Arizona. Now trying to catch on with the Nats. It was under the leadership team of Dave Stewart and Tony La Russa, and Tony back in the game as the manager of the White Sox. the 1-1.
Yeah, that was certainly a large investment. And look, a lot of times internationally, you're trying to get players that are young. You think the game translates. Didn't quite happen early on for Tomas. You saw glimpses of it, certainly, but nothing that lived up to the $68.5 million deal that he got.
I was texting with Tony the other day. Congratulations, good luck. Great to have you back in the game, in the dugout. All he said coming back was, I am flat out fired up.
Sure he is. I'm sure he is. And I loved hearing from some of his current players now about his first initial meeting with everybody and how he reiterated over and over again, I'm nervous. Like, I'm a little bit nervous of being here. And Tony is always one of those guys where if you're not nervous a little bit, it means you don't care. You know, like he just cares about it so much. Tony didn't come back just to come back. He came back to win. And he's got himself a pretty darn good team over there with the White Sox to go make a run at it.
Fly ball into right and a foul ball. I don't know if you saw this. They were something like 1-6 or 1-7 after the initial week of games, you know, handful of games, whatever it was. And he was not happy. You know,
I'm shocked, Dan.
Typical Tony. I mean, he was like, hey, I get it. You know, guys are supposed to be getting their work in. That's what we're supposed to say. And it's spring training, all the cliches. He said, I'm not happy. We need to start winning some games.
That's right. Hey, that's one of the reasons where Tony didn't last in the commissioner's office that
Right.
long, because there wasn't a W or an L next to his name. Like, he needs that wherever he has been, and certainly it's more attached to his name now than it has been in years.
You bet. 2-2 the count. White
That's the
Sox
thing.
should be a very good team, too.
They should. They got a really nice young nucleus. They've got some solid veterans. I think the addition of Lance Lynn is a really good one for that pitching staff. Already got Lucas Giolito over there.
2-2 pitch is a foul ball. Near the line is Arenado, just foul. There's the right-hander getting loose in the pen for the Nationals. We'll see if we get another inning out of Scherzer. 4 innings today, 7 strikeouts.
I've seen enough, Dan. I think that he's fine.
Yeah.
See somebody else.
Looks pretty locked in. The 2-2 pitch to Yasmani Tomas.
Going back to Tony not being excited about dropping games in spring training, he's a big proponent of, look, you got to also learn how to win. You know, it's a team that he takes over, and certainly a lot of big leaguers that have been around before. But when you have a new manager taking over the helm, you're kind of taking over a new culture as well.
Got him. Third strikeout for John Gant.
Something you don't see John Gant do a ton of, but he does have the ability to do so, is ride that fastball up in the zone. We've seen him lower in the zone with the sinker here, but he gets the committed swing here. A couple of breaking balls. He throws that off of him.
Well, this has been one of the question marks about John Gant as a starter. Third time through a lineup where his ERA was over 8 as a starter. Curveball, beauty in there for his strike. What would you attribute that to, you think? Is it just he's not used to those kind of appearances where you're going that deep into a game? Is it the analytics where they tell you, hey, third time through, it doesn't matter if you're John Gant or player X. Third time through is not a good thing anyway.
Well, I think I hate that part of it. I don't think that baseball should be going in that direction of third time through, trust the eyes instead of the numbers. I think that we learned that maybe in the World Series.
Did we ever?
But I do think that there's a little bit to be said of all the things, right? John Gant has been a guy that's kind of been back and forth within the rotation and the bullpen, so not as much stability there. And he also hasn't had this entire arsenal and the feel for all of this the last few years. Like, this has been evolving. He's been growing as a pitcher. So I wouldn't take those numbers and just say, okay, well, let's get him out of there third time around. I think that you watch the way that he's attacking. You watch the way that his stuff is working, and then you make your decisions based off of that.
2-2 the count. Stevenson is struck out and grounded out 0 for 2 today.
So here's what you're seeing now in this is as the pitch count approaches 70, we've seen a couple of misses up in the zone. So maybe he's tiring a little bit, and rightfully so, right? It's in his second start of spring training, third game overall. So, I mean, you're probably near the end of his pitch count.
Full count delivery. And a ground ball. Softly hit. Covering the bag, John Gant for the out. Four in a row set down by Gant after the single by Parra back in inning number 4. Trey Turner walked, stole a base, scored a run in the first inning, grounded out to third in the third. Cody Whitley, right-hander, throwing in the Cardinal bullpen. So 2 outs, nobody on. First pitch by Gant. Curveball, a beauty. Boy, that was tight. That pitch has been awesome today.
Just stealing strikes with it. I mean, commanding counts. That's the big thing. And if you're sitting out there, Trey Turner's not sitting on first pitch hammer to drive. He's waiting for something, you know, elevated, a fastball that he can get a hold of.
Just off the plate. Didn't miss by much. 2 balls and 1 strike. And the next by John Gant. 2-2. And with that, Arenado backing up at third base. Goldschmidt at first, backing up a step or 2. This could be the final pitch of the day for John Gant. Just off the plate. 3-2. 75 pitches today. You would think maybe 3 more starts this spring for Gant before the club heads north to Cincinnati for opening day. We'll see. Full count delivery. Fouled back and out of play.
I'd say this one has been a very good one for John Gant. He is showing off a lot. And again, Miles Michaelis right now, he's down. He's not throwing for probably another 4 or 5 days. And then they're going to work back into it. He's been dealing with some shoulder tightness that they're trying to get out of there. So that opens the spot in the rotation. It looks like Gant is set to walk right through the door.
Popped up and out of play again. Sparse crowd, socially distant at Roger Dean Stadium. We're in the studios of Fox Sports Midwest in St. Louis with Brad Thompson. I'm Dan McLaughlin. As you can tell, the sun is shining brightly on an 80-degree day down in Jupiter. 3-2 pitch.
Yeah! Give me that!
Gant not happy. He wanted that.
He wanted that one for sure. He knows, like we were talking about, probably last battery face. This one belt high up. I think that if you look at the strike zone overall, the high strike is probably called. Could have been off the plate. Looks like that's going to be it for John Gant in this one.
So Cody Whitley, who has been throwing, looks like he'll come on. Good day of work for John Gant.
Cody Whitley on to work here in his 4th outing of the spring. John Gant, 4 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks. He's obviously responsible for the runner over at first base as Whitley takes over. Last time we saw him on Friday against the Astros, picked up the save. 2 strikeouts in his inning of work, and very, very efficient.
And Brad, I like this where Gant gets his work in. You know he wanted to get to 5 innings. He wanted that, but you're going to find out a little bit here about Cody Whitley. Runner on, and you face one of the game's best in Soto. Cody's got a very good changeup. Off the bag and into center. Some tough luck there for Whitley and the Cardinals. A base hit for Soto. And Trey Turner winds up at third.
Man, you could see that coming, couldn't you? You saw DeYoung perfectly played behind the bag. He's right there waiting for it. That hurts. Make a good pitch.
Nothing you can do about it.
No, it is what it is, right? Got to go right back to work and execute another one. Soto trying to be aggressive in that spot.
And now you get Ryan Zimmerman 2 for 2. 2-run a homer back in the first. A single to right on a 2-strike pitch in the fourth. And there's strike one. Cody Whitley so far, that was his first hit allowed of the spring. Had 3 scoreless appearances of at least an inning and 2 strikeouts in 2 of the 3 games. A 1 pitch. High. One ball, 1 strike. A lot of room on the right side of the infield. They play him to pull. Outfield straight away. Zimmerman a big swing, and it's fouled back for strike 2. All this being done with 2 outs. The walk to Turner, base hit by Soto, and the 1-2. Got him. Strikeout for Cody Whitley. The Nationals strand a pair. They have left 5 on through 5. Coming up, Molina, Carlson, and Bader. It's 2-0. Austin Voth. Last season, 11 games for the Nationals, went 2-5. ERA was near 6.5. He was Washington's 5th-round pick in 2013, their minor league pitcher of the year in 2015, and then eventually made his major league debut with the Nats in 18. Takes over for Max Scherzer, who was magnificent today with 4 innings, 2 hits, no runs, and struck out 7, no walks. Was hitting 96 on the gun.
Yeah, he looked good.
Molina, Carlson, and Bader. And that's a ball 1. With Brad Thompson, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Both in a battle with Joe Ross. Potentially for the rotation. You've got Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, Patrick Corbin, John Lester at some point. Last year, opponents hit .281 against this right-hander. He allowed a team-high 14 home runs. That was 3rd most in all of baseball.
And when you look at the Nationals right now and the rotation with all the names that you threw out there, those are some good ones, some really good ones. But where they kind of lack this rotational depth, what the Cardinals have a wealth of. You look at theirs. Voth obviously is one of those guys who's been able to stabilize things at the very least and take the ball. Eric Fetty is another one, but after that it kind of drops off for the Nationals as far as starting depth.
And the 2-2. 3-2 pitch. Spoiled by Molina. Yadi fly to center. First time up. 0 for 1 today. And the 3-2 pitch. Spoiled again. Well, you got the scouts behind home plate. Usually Michael Gersh is behind home plate. He'll probably duck in and out of watching the game from behind home plate. It is odd not seeing a lot of fans, but good to have fans back in the seats. 3-2 pitch again. Good at bat by Molina. Stays away. Draws a leadoff walk.
The right fielder, number 3, Dylan Carlson.
There's Dylan Carlson. Carlson grounded out to second. And ball one. Andrew Kisner is pinch running for Molina. Kisner's had a solid camp so far. So the tying run at the plate and the 1-0 pitch to Dylan Carlson. Curveball taken outside. On deck, Harrison Bader. And Dylan hits it out into the gap in left center. It's well hit. It drops and rolls to the track. Kisner will score easily. Carlson on his way to third, sliding in with a triple. And that makes it a 2-1 Washington lead on the triple and RBI for Dylan Carlson.
Well, that's what you want to see. Earlier at bat against Scherzer in a hitter's count, he wasn't ready to pull the trigger. This time he is against Voth. He gets a center cut fastball and just drives it the other way, running hard the whole time. Dylan runs well, smart base runner. Like to see that from him.
Fourth run batted in this spring for Dylan Carlson. Infield we brought in for Harrison Bader. I think these kind of at-bats are important for Bader. Right-handed pitcher, infield in, and he's going to see a lot of that. A lot of breaking pitches. We know that he's got issues with right-handers. And love to see the speed on the bases. Kisner can run, and so can Dylan. And he turned it on here. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Bader. 2 balls, no strikes. Infield in, 2 balls, no strikes. Outfield straight away. The next to Bader. Fly ball lifted down the right field line and out of play. Used to be a berm out there where some of your best friends, Brad Thompson, would hang out in that Cardinal bullpen.
I mean, that was the place. You had the berm. You have all the kids up there.
Yep.
Good family fun. You have Sid, who used to work out in that direction. And he would make sure all the fans wouldn't give you too hard of a time, but let them have a little bit of fun.
That's what spring training's all about.
That's it.
2-1 on the ground. Carlson staying put. And the out. So the first out here in the bottom of the 5th. Nolan Gorman will be the pinch hitter for Whitley. I don't know about you. This guy, this young man, he just looks the part of a big leaguer. He's only 20 years old. One of the top prospects for the Cardinals. I don't know about you. How did the Cardinals pull off the deal to get Nolan Arenado and the money involved and not include this guy? I just... On its surface, what a job by John Mozeliak and Michael Gersh to pull this thing off.
It was incredible enough, and that's no disrespect to the players that went the other direction. But then you heard about the money on top of it. Like, okay,
yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. But you're right. This is a piece, and I'm sure they asked, and I'm sure the Cardinals said, no, I appreciate your interest, but we also know the situation you're in, and we'll use our leverage here.
The 1-1. Gorman rips it fair down into the corner, and the game is tied. Nolan Gorman on his way to second, and now stopping midway between second and third. It's a double to tie it up, and it's 2-2. Ball just jumps off his bat.
Yeah, you talk about looking the part. This is probably the hardest hit ball of the day. Zimmerman got into one early, but just does a good job of
going down there and getting this one. Just that pretty left-handed swing.
The batter will be Carpenter. You got to wonder if the Cardinals would keep Gorman in the game, and maybe you see him, whether it's at third or second, but stay in the game here. Haven't seen him a lot at second. We've seen Nolan Gorman play primarily in the games we televised. And again, we're in St. Louis, so we're not on the backfields. We can't see this all the time. But the games he's been at third, really good defensively.
Well, he's taken advantage of his time the last couple of years, and even asked for and got permission to show up to camp early to work at second base. But the glove has gotten way better. Always been a decent athlete, but he's been working with Jose Oquendo, Stubby Clapp, trying to make sure that he's able to make that transition to potentially second base or the outfield. He's worked with Willie McGee out there as well. But you'd like to see that. Remember, another guy, he went to the alternate site last year, but there was no minor league season. So any reps that he can get, live game reps, you'd love to have.
1 ball, 1 strike, top of the lineup. Carpenter 0 for 2 today. He has struck out and flied to deep right field. One ball, 1 strike. Go ahead run at second base, Nolan Gorman. And the next to Carp. Off the plate, 2 balls in 1 strike. You think about going to that alternate site and you're working, if you're Nolan Gorman or other infielders, really with the guru of infield defensive play, Jose Oquendo. So it's not an ideal situation, but you make the most of it.
You got something out of it for sure. And I'm certain the glove, the footwork, still rep swinging. Again, it's a lot more than most minor league players got last year.
The 2-1 just pulled foul.
There's just still nothing, though, that takes place of games and a season and reps and seeing how the opposition is going to attack you. Because, I mean, they were doing live BPs and simulating as much as possible. But you're seeing the same guys over and over again. And when you're looking out and facing your buddy Matthew Liberatore every day or every couple days, that's not the same as, like, facing the opposition that you feel like trying to take a meal off your plate.
Nolan talked about facing Matthew and Zach Thompson, another top lefty in the Cardinals system, and he's going to see that a lot in Major League Baseball, you would assume. Late inning situations, lefty-lefty matchups. The 2-2. Did not go, and that'll run the count full here on Carpenter. The 3-2 pitch to Carpenter. Inning started with a walk by Yadier Molina. He was brought in. The triple off the bat at Carlson. Bader grounded out. Nolan Gorman pinch hit, RBI double. Shift on the infield here for Carpenter. 3-2 the count. And Carpenter lifts a high fly ball into center. Stevenson with the catch. Gorman draws the throw back into the infield. And there's 2 away. Paul Goldschmidt is 0 for 2. Grounded out to third. Struck out swinging on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball from Max Scherzer back in the 4th. Oh for 2 today. Cardinals looking for that 2-out hit. Breaking pitch and a strike for this right-hander, turning out to be a fairly lengthy inning now. 27 pitches coming up.
Yeah, the Cardinals have been making him work for sure, and he's made some mistakes over the plate. It's amazing how the momentum of a game changes once you get one of the best pitchers on the face of the earth out of it.
Changes in a hurry. The 0-1. Todd Peterson, a right-hander, getting loose in the bullpen for the Nationals. Big gap in left center for Goldie. And he hammers it towards short. Diving stop. Turner keeps it on the infield. No throw. Gorman advancing to third. And a base hit for Paul Goldschmidt. Just tomahawked that, didn't he?
Got those quick hands, right? Be able to speed up to that. Good play by Turner. Saves a run by keeping it in the infield.
John Nagowski will pinch run for Goldschmidt. His day is through. I think that took a little bit of an odd hop for Turner, too, maybe on the lip of the grass, and got a better hop than he anticipated. I think he thought that was going to be a little bit lower. It came up high.
Kind of hung up there a little bit.
Extends the inning here to Nolan Arenado, who singled to left for his 6th hit of this spring. 1 for 2 today. Runners at the corners. Arenado smokes one. Wow. I think he was ready for it. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Nothing in 2.
It's amazing how much different it feels right now. I mean, last year you looked at the Cardinals offense, and a topsy-turvy year no matter what for everybody. But once the opposition got past Goldie, it felt like for them it was going to be smooth sailing. Well, this changes things a little bit, doesn't it?
Big time. The 0-2 pitch to Nolan Arenado. And a base hit into left field. Cardinals have the lead. Gorman will score. Arenado his 2nd hit of the afternoon, and that makes it a 3-2 St. Louis lead. It's another 2-strike base hit for Nolan Arenado.
Well, 0-2, not exactly where you want to put it. Nolan is he's ready for that thing. It just hits it on the screws.
Max Moroff will be the pinch runner for Nolan Arenado. Todd Peterson trotting in from the Nationals bullpen. 4 hits in the inning and a 3-2 Cardinal lead. Okay, I mentioned all the scouts that are behind home plate. That is behind the Cardinals coaches there. That's Will Mozeliak. That is John's son. And so, you know, John is in the office, maybe constructing another big deal or something. Who knows what's going on, right? So he's got a lot of work to do in the office. So he sends out his top lieutenant, Will Mozeliak, who's on spring break. Hey, Will, go out there and make sure you shake things up, okay? Well, he's done that this inning. Good to see Will Mozeliak taking in the sun and enjoying a little Cardinal baseball. And a chance to visit with Dad.
Nothing wrong with that. Baseball at its core, right? It's a family affair.
Well, there's a lot of long hours for Mo and Gersh front office, so good to see Will down at spring training. Runners at second and third. Check that first and second for the Cardinals. And here is Paul DeJong, who is 0 for 2 today. Todd Peterson, 23-year-old, big right-hander, 6'5", 230. That's out of play. Nothing in 2 the count. In the dirt, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, it's been the fastball the last couple of at-bats that have got Paul DeJong fastballs away with good giddy up from Max Scherzer. Wonder if Peterson will try the same thing.
The 1-2 pitch just off the plate. 2-2. Well, if you're looking for a silver lining in at bats, it's something like that. Sometimes he will chase, pull off those pitches, stays alive, evens it up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. The next 2, the Cardinals shortstop. Sometimes in spring training, it's a battle within yourself, isn't it? I mean, it's not only about getting the work in to prepare for a season, but your timing can be off. It's about tracking pitches. Sometimes you're lunging, sometimes you're late, sometimes you're just off. And that's where DeJong might be right now.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And sometimes you're working on things that we or you watching at home have no idea, right? You're trying to track things differently, or you're trying to shoot the ball the other way. It is about just getting ABs.
2-2, grounded to third, force play at second. Ooh, and they just got him. Just got him at second. Carlson in the RBI triple. Nolan Gorman off the bench, RBI double. 2-strike base hit, RBI Arenado. Cardinals lead. What's on tap, presented by Budweiser, and a lot of games that we have for you on Fox Sports Midwest. Our next telecast will be Thursday. That is a night game. Note the start time at 5 against Miami. Then Saturday at noon, and a bunch of games next week. So check your local listings. Budweiser, what's on tap? Andrew Miller into the ball game for St. Louis. Sweeping breaking ball in for a strike. So Miller on to pitch here in the 6th inning. Starlin Castro at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Changes for the St. Louis Cardinals defensively. So Miller on the mound. Sosa at second base. Tommy Edman at short. Nagowski stays in at first. Moroff at third. Kisner at catching.
That slider there has been Miller's bread and butter over the years. First couple of outings in spring training, kind of been a little inconsistent and not something that is crazy after a long layoff, but looks like he's got a better feel for it right now.
Off the plate, and it's 3-2. Castro grounded out to second and popped out at first base. Foul territory at the time, Paul Goldschmidt. 3-2 pitch to Starlin Castro. Got him. And a strikeout for Miller. Cardinals really have eased Miller into some spring training action. He's been at it a long time.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. He'll kind of let you know how much work he needs at this point. It's not a normal schedule. When you've been pitching as long as he has, he'll let you know.
Here's Parham, 1 for 2. I don't care how many times you've seen Andrew Miller. You're a lefty. That pitch right there, that's got to be an uncomfortable pitch.
It's super uncomfortable, and especially when he starts getting the feel for his fastball, and then he can spot that thing up off of it.
Look at that. I mean, that's starting out behind him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And you try to commit to it, right? Because as soon as guys start cheating on that pitch, that's where he busts that fastball in on you. And look, 90-91, that can still blow you up.
On the ground, Tommy Edman at short now. 2 away.
The catcher number 6, Alex Avila.
Alex Avila called out on strikes back in inning number 2, and with 2 runners on, fly to center back in the 4th. Would you say that in your experience, this is kind of the dog days of spring training midway through? And then you get the light at the end of the tunnel, and you get anxious for that opening day.
Yeah, I would. Usually in the middle of it. I mean, there are a few guys. I never had the luxury in my career, Dan, to have dog days of spring. Like, these are the days if nobody wanted to pitch, I'd want to pitch extra so I could sneak on a roster.
Yeah.
But you do. You've had a few outings now, and you realize there's still a couple of weeks of work left before you can actually kick things off for real. But these are the times that your reps really mean something. Like, you got to be able to push through them.
Here's a 1-0. Fastball in there. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Shift on the right side. All kinds of room on that left side of the infield. Moroff, the only defender on the left side. Very shallow in right. He's got that working today, doesn't he?
Yeah, it looks good. And there were a couple in the last at-bat against Castro where he overthrew a couple of them. That's just free and easy and letting the grip do the work.
The 1-2. And he got him. The check swing. Pair of strikeouts for Andrew Miller and a 1-2-3, top of the 6th. Nolan Arenado, our Budweiser player of the game. Couple more knocks for the Cardinal third baseman. That included with 2 strikes that base hit that drove in Gorman. And he is your Budweiser player of the game. Well, Voth, who is competing for potentially a spot in the rotation, was lifted last inning and now starts another inning clean. He's at 31 pitches, and the first pitch to Tyler O'Neill. He's fouled back.
The Cardinals are hoping that they've seen the end of their rollover innings with having a pitcher come back. They had to utilize that a couple of times, but that is the beauty of spring training, is you can give people their work in. And for Davey Martinez and for the Nationals, you want to see how Voth comes back from this, how he responds.
And a base hit on a hanging breaking ball. Leadoff hit for Tyler O'Neill to start play here in the 6th. His second hit of the day. He's 2 for 3. So now here in spring, Tyler O'Neill is 12 for 24.
It's fantastic. I mean, he was a guy we spent plenty of time, Dan, talking about in the offseason of what is he going to do with the opportunity that's in front of him. Well, he's been running with it, and a couple of those hits, as you mentioned, off of off-speed pitches, had the double down the right side. This time hooks one left side, covering those pitches well.
Andrew Kisner at the plate. He himself has had a pretty good spring so far. Now, do you want to see the Cardinals 3-2 our score? Would you like to see Tyler O'Neill in action a little bit more? He can run.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I'd like to see the Cardinals utilize their team speed overall. Last year didn't really have a chance to do so. The year prior, though, in 2019, we're tied with the Nationals, 116 stolen bases. So a lot of team speed. O'Neill, I know for a lot of people that don't watch much, they look at O'Neill and say, that's the power guy, not the speed guy. He's both. Him and Harrison Bader are very quick. Tommy Edman runs really well.
There he goes. And a foul ball. Some changes now for the Nationals. Hernan Perez is at first base. Clough at second. Garcia is at short. Josh Harrison, longtime Pirate, trying to make the club for the Nationals. He's in left and Wilson in center. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kisner, by the way, this spring 7 for 19. Making his case to break with the Nationals for opening, or with the Cardinals for opening day in Cincinnati. Here's a 1-1 pitch. O'Neill not running, and a ground ball foul.
That'll be an interesting storyline to follow as well this season. Dan, we know Yadier Molina. He wants to be in there every single day. I mean, he's got a Hall of Fame career. So how does Kisner fit in? You know, the bat plays, certainly. You don't get better unless you get reps. But when you're playing behind a guy like that, the reps are few and far between.
Left-hander Tyler Webb getting loose in the Cardinals pen. Wander Suero, right-hander for the Nationals. And a check on Tyler O'Neill.
Another thing to remember for, a lot of times out of camp, there will be a decision to make with a younger player and say, hey, we've decided as an organization we're going to send him to AAA. He's going to get every day at bats. He's going to play. Well, a reminder, this year the AAA season, along with the rest of minor league baseball, has been pushed back another month. So really it would be going to the alternate site, which is Sauget, the Gateway Grizzlies.
Runner was going and right into a potential double play. They get the lead man, and they get 2. Some tough luck hit into by the Cardinals. Kisner. Clough stayed with it and somehow turned 2. That was a bullet hit up the middle.
Yeah, hard hit baseball for sure. Good concentration by Clough to be able to stick with it.
Good play. Well, you're worried about the bag. Then you're worried about making sure you just get the ball for the lead runner. Then you fall down and you're trying to turn 2. And it turns into a double play. Here's Dylan Carlson, RBI triple back in the 5th. And a ball low. Both really needed that. This has been a struggle here today for him. He's walked a man. He's allowed 5 hits in an inning and 2/3. Curveball taken in the dirt. 2 balls and no strikes. Just joined us. Both starters pretty impressive today. John Gant did give up a 2-run homer to Ryan Zimmerman. And Max Scherzer, 4 innings, 7 strikeouts, was hitting 96 on the gun. The 2-0 pitch. You always think about different storylines in spring training, and for the Nationals, that's one of them. And this is the final year for Scherzer potentially with the Nats. His deal would run out after the season, but trying to see exactly what they have maybe in that final year, and it is a Hall of Fame career undoubtedly.
I think they still have a lot left.
Oh yeah,
in that. That will be interesting though, how they want to handle it, if they want to look to extend him, if he wants to try something different. I mean, I think he looks nice in red.
With the Cardinal red or the Nationals red?
Okay, I think that he could pull it off.
All right. The shift on the infield here for Dylan Carlson. Well off the line at third. And the 3-1 pitch. And he walked him. Harrison Bader. Bader came up with a runner at third and nobody out back in the 5th. Rounded out sharply to short. And he's also struck out. Three-2 Cardinals, home half of the 6th. Ball 1. I think another storyline potentially in this spring training across Major League Baseball, Shohei Ohtani. There are some players that believe he's going to hit 30 home runs and win 10 games. He's back to throwing and healthy, and he's hitting high 90s to triple digits. Key is he's healthy and driving the baseball everywhere.
He looks good.
And if this is indeed Albert Pujols' last year, which it could be, you don't know. He also is in the final year of his contract. Like to see him get into postseason play, and I think generally speaking, it'd be great for baseball that fans would see Mike Trout in postseason play.
It is pretty amazing. As great as that guy is, you don't see him. When your team doesn't show up in the postseason, you just don't get an opportunity to be in front of everybody on that national level. I'd like to see that for them as well. I still have plenty of question marks about the pitching for the Angels.
2-0 pitch and a base hit out to left. Carlson will stop at second. Harrison will get it back into the infield. And a 2-out hit for Harrison Bader. His first of the afternoon. Yeah, we've been robbed of postseason play with Mike Trout. He's made it one time, and they were swept.
Yeah, we had expanded playoffs last year, Dan. We had 16 teams make the postseason, and we didn't see the Angels.
No. Jose Rondon is 4 for 13 this spring with a home run and 6 runs batted in. So in limited time, he's made the most of it. Talking with Michael Gersh the other day, he said, we're just kind of finding out about this guy. We signed him, wanted to bring him in camp for depth, and he has impressed.
It's the fun thing about spring training for a lot of guys, and we come in and you pretty much know what the roster is going to look like, and there could be some variation here and there, and certainly there are some injuries throughout, but somebody always steps up. Like there's always somebody that you're talking about. Rondon's been one of those guys this year.
1 ball and 1 strike. He has hit one of the longest home runs of this camp. He's 27 from Venezuela. Made his major league debut late July, and he was wearing the uniform of the San Diego Padres. Played in 42 games in 2018 with the White Sox. 2019. Played in 55 games with the White Sox, and last year no minor league season, but did play in winter ball. He's coming off a very good winter league in Venezuela. Played in 32 games and popped 7 home runs. So that'll get your attention. One ball and 2 strikes. Runners at first and second for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 6th. The next 2, Rondon. Got him. So the strikeout, Cardinals will strand a pair. They have stranded 6 in this game. We head to the 7th. Cardinals lead 3-2. Over from Chicago. By Ryan Zimmerman, that was back in the 1st. Off of John Gant, he settled in, but then the 5th inning, the Cardinals came back. A triple by Dylan Carlson, that brought in a run. Cut the lead at 2-1. Carlson then brought in by Nolan Gorman. And Nolan Arenado with 2 strikes, a single and an RBI. 3-2, 7th inning. Here's Tyler Webb, the new pitcher for the Cardinals. Jordy Mercer at the plate. Good changeup. 1 ball, 1 strike. Changes for the Cardinals. Austin Dean is in left. Lane Thomas in center. Justin Williams in right. Moroff at third. Edman at short. Sosa at second. Nagowski at first. Andrew Kisner behind the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike. Popped up. Shallow center. Thomas coming on and calls off Sosa to make the catch. Yosemite Tomas will be the batter. Mercer 1 for 3. Tomas is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. We're in the 7th, 3-2 St. Louis.
Tyler Webb just been steady Eddie for the Cardinals the last couple of years, hasn't he? It doesn't have anything that is necessarily overpowering, but the ball just jumps on the hitters. That 91, it looks a lot harder when you're standing there, and pulls the string with the changeup. Aggressive in the strike zone. No Schulte loves that.
3 2/3 coming into this appearance for Tyler Webb. Already his 5th appearance, which ties Tommy Parsons for the team lead this spring.
Talk about another guy that has opened some eyes in spring training. Tommy Parsons has taken advantage of it so far. Those 5 games, 8 scoreless innings.
And a strikeout for Webb. Nothing flashy about Tyler Webb, but does get the job done.
Well, location, too, is a well-located fastball in on Tomas. You got to be able to respect the changeup that he has. You got to be able to cover that away. So 91 in speeds you up.
The top of the 8th, we'll hear from Tommy Edman and Jim Hayes. Talked to Jim the other day. He's going to be part of our regular season activities on Fox Sports Midwest. Does a great job with those interviews. Sosa, Nagowski, and the out. Let's stretch. Spring training baseball on this Monday afternoon. It's 3-2 Cardinals. Cardinals Magazine, it is out and available for you. And on the cover, a great behind-the-scenes look at Bob Gibson. Stories that you haven't read or heard about, all at Cardinals Magazine. Make sure you get your subscription. 345-9000, cardinals.com/magazine. Wander Suero came up with the Nats in 2018. He's got a big arm. Last year was 2-0 in 22 appearances. The 29-year-old out of the Dominican. Very tough for whatever reason on left-handed batters. The slugging percentage, lefties against this right-hander, it's only .297. Pretty good.
He's got that natural cut to his fastball. Looks like you're going to catch him on the barrel, and then it just eats you up a little bit.
Here's Tommy Edman.
Suero appeared in 78 games in 2019, so they went to him a lot.
What do you think? Tommy Edman penciled in as your at least first beginning parts of the season as your leadoff guy?
Yeah, I think he's your leadoff guy. He's your second baseman. He's had a really nice spring.
And strikes out on a fastball at 93. First plate appearance for Tommy Edman. And again, we'll hear from Tommy and Jim Hayes coming up next inning. Talked to Jimmy the other day. He's actually distraught right now. He really is. Yeah.
Why? He's a pretty upbeat guy all the time.
I know, and I get it. But he's been trying to find his Felipe Lopez jersey, and he can't. And he said that has been a big project in his house during this offseason to find his Felipe Lopez jersey.
What did he move recently?
No.
I mean, I thought it was framed above the mantle. Is it not?
No, he wears it.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't find it. Club flip. Felipe Lopez. John Nagowski is driven in 8 this spring.
I got to wonder, I mean, I know that he's got, plenty different jerseys, and the family, big Cardinal fans in general.
He's got a Thompson jersey, too.
Of course he does. I sent him a bunch. But the Felipe Lopez, like, how did that one come to be? Just
not sure.
When you love a player, you love a player.
That's right.
Well, I hope he finds it.
Well, he and Felipe had a special relationship over the years, and Jim was always trying to continue that bond even after the playing career of Felipe Lopez was over, and obviously it extended into him wearing that jersey.
I respect that.
Mm-hmm. Back-to-back Ks, or rather 2-2 the count. Nogowski is an interesting guy in the fact that he's got more hits than walks in his pro career.
That's not a real thing. You must be looking at that wrong. No pro baseball player has more hits than walks, or more walks than strikeouts. Is that real?
I love it.
I do too.
He's the anti modern day player where you're just, you're seeing a guy get on base. He walks, gets the hits, doesn't strike out, puts the ball in play.
I appreciate all those things that you just mentioned.
Yeah. Got a tremendous eye. Always has. And there he strikes out right on cue. Didn't that always happen, though?
Every single time, it feels like.
I just should stop talking about it.
Maybe we got to go the other direction, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the batter before that, I mentioned Tommy Edman, no doubt, leadoff hitter, second baseman. He punches out. Now, that doesn't change anything.
Yep.
Let's try something else. More off. No pop. Here comes a laser in the gap.
Oh, yeah. That's how it works. First plate appearance for Max today. Took over for Nolan Arenado at third base. Two balls and no strikes. Genesis Cabrera, hard-throwing lefty, getting loose. Look at this shift on 2-0. If there was ever a time to drop down a bunt. And Max can run a bit, too. There will be certain levels of the minor leagues that have different rule changes this season. One of those levels will semi-eliminate the shift in terms of infielders having to stay on the infield dirt. We're trying to get play in the game in terms of action in the game. More activity.
Yeah, that'll be Double-A, that rule change when it comes to the shift. So you can't be, have your whole right side out in the grass when Matt Carpenter is up. Now, they haven't made the stipulation yet, and they might do it at the All-Star break of making sure you have two infielders on each side of the base. They haven't.
I think you have to do that. If you're gonna do the dirt, you might as well do it the entire way.
I would agree. If you're going to do it, do it. I would also say that I think that we should be able to create enough complete hitters that we don't have to worry about it. They should be able to shoot the ball the other way and take advantage of it. Should work to the advantage as opposed to against them. But I don't mind trying different things. They have used, Major League Baseball has used independent leagues in the last couple of years, the Atlantic League specifically, as kind of a trying ground for some of these rules.
Suero strikes out the side. We head to the eighth. The Cat and Tommy Edman comes your way next.
So let's talk about your situation. Obviously, it's a business. I know everyone loved Colton Wong. Just your thoughts on getting to watch Colton play second base as a guy who's probably going to do it a lot this year. What you saw from Colton and also what you understand about the business of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one out there that's better at second base than Colton. So I really enjoyed getting the chance to watch him play second every day, and I learned a lot of things from him, just taking ground balls in pregame. And those are things that I'll hopefully be able to take over into this year and be that elite defensive second baseman that he was. Obviously, it's going to be big shoes to fill, but I think I have the capability to do it. And going back to the business side of the game, we're definitely going to miss Colton a lot. It always sucks when one of your buddies goes to a different team, but I understand it's a business, and just unfortunate, but we're glad that he got a good deal in Milwaukee, and we'll be excited to see him a lot.
But does it make it more, make it an easier task to just be able to concentrate on one position instead of a number of them?
Yeah, it makes it easier. I have a better idea, obviously, of what my day-to-day routine is going to look like. Instead of moving all around and planning in advance, okay, I'm going to get third base this day, shortstop the next day, second the next. Whereas now it's obviously a majority at second base. But this year, I obviously I know that weird things could happen, and I could end up playing outfield, could end up playing short or third. So I'm still making sure I'm going to make sure I'm getting reps at all the different positions, just not quite as much, and I'll make sure I'm focusing the majority on second.
In terms of where you hit, you've hit leadoff before. I've asked you probably poorly phrased questions about it, and I know the answer sometimes has to fit whatever the narrative, but what you told me, and I'm just curious if that's still the same way, that no matter where you hit in the batting order, the basic approach stays the same. Now that you're possibly a guy who could be the leadoff, is that still how you'll go about it?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm hitting leadoff and I have all those great RBI guys hitting behind me, then obviously my goal is going to be to get on base for those guys to drive me in. And I think I was telling you earlier that that's pretty much always my goal when I'm hitting, is to get on base. Especially with my speed, I can definitely make things happen on the base paths. Whether that's stealing bases or scoring from first on a double or something like that. I feel that's my most valuable asset on the offensive side, would be getting on base and then causing some trouble on the bases.
Did you see pictures?
Jim Hayes with Tommy Edman there, and Tommy penciled in as the everyday second baseman and leadoff man. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Hit the other way, and a base hit. Hanging breaking ball that time by Cabrera. Big things expected from Tommy this year, which will be his third season in the big leagues.
Yeah, big opportunity, right? We saw him in 2019 in his rookie season. He was impressive. I mean, came right up. He hit. He mentioned all the positions. I mean, basically he's bringing every glove that you could possibly have down to the dugout every day, and he did a fine job. Last year, a little bit of a regression. Again, kind of a tough year to gauge anything off of, but he's got a big opportunity in front of him here. And look, they're going to need him. They're going to need him to set the table. He plays great defense. I think that double play duo, we've had a chance this spring to see a couple of double plays turn between him and DeYoung. I think that's got a chance to be a really good one.
Hernan Perez. It's a longtime Brewer. We saw him in the Central Division. He's played every position in the major leagues except catcher. Double play ball, the turn, and the double play. St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. By Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters. And by the Hyundai Spring Upgrade event going on now. Hurry in and get the upgrade you deserve. There's a look at our game summary. It's 3-2 Cardinals in the bottom of the 8th. Scherzer was impressive. Zimmerman, a 2-run shot. Cardinals came back with 3 runs. And all their damage done in that 5th inning, and they have a 3-2 lead. Edmundo Sosa. And Sosa with a high fly ball out to left center. One hop off the wall. And a leadoff double for Edmundo Sosa. Trying to make the club as a backup infielder. And seeing this helps. He's last year and a half, 2 years, showing more power, little pop, and there it was on display.
Yeah, why mess around, right? Don't wait until you get later in the count and see some off speed. You see a fastball you can handle, let it rip.
Now Justin Williams homered over the weekend against the Mets. Sosa, the runner at second base. Backus is the new pitcher. Well, this is when you want to see Justin Williams, even in spring training, pull the ball to the right side, move the runner over or move him in.
Productive at bats, right? You work on them here as well. There are plenty of things. I know with Williams, they're trying to get him to get the ball in the air more and drive the baseball more, but situational baseball in a one-run game is important.
0-2 the count. Sosa, the runner at second, shift on the right side of the infield. And the 0-2 pitch to Williams. And he smokes it. Left center. And that ball is caught. Tagging up on the play, Sosa from second to third. So you'll take that.
Best of both worlds right there, right? We talked about him getting the ball in the air, hitting it with authority. Does so the other way, gets a runner over.
Alex Reyes throwing in the Cardinal pen. Andrew Kisner, infield drawn in. Trying to provide a little insurance here for the Redbirds. The Cardinals can win this game. They jump back to the 500 mark. Spring training, they're 4-5-3. The Nationals 5-4-3. And the 1-0 pitch to Kisner. Ball gets away. Sosa will score, and that makes it a 4-2 St. Louis lead. Sosa read it right away and scores.
That's the key, is getting that good secondary, get down the line a little bit. You see it kick off Barrera, and he knows right away he's got this. Those are the ones, if you take it for granted over at third, if you find yourself on your heels, you don't score there.
The 2-0 inside. Kisner hit one up the middle, turned into a double play when they had started the runner O'Neill back in the 6th inning. 3 balls, 1 strike. The 3-1 pitch. 3-2. So a double, then the fly ball hit by Williams, allowing Sosa to tag up after his double. Wild pitch, and the Cardinals have a 4-2 lead. Remember, our next televised game will be Thursday. Cardinals and the Marlins. Steady diet of the Marlins, the Mets, the Nationals, and the Astros this spring. Staying within that pod. 3-2. And he got him. Cardinals baseball back on Fox Sports Midwest, brought to you by your Mid-America Chevy dealers. And again, that will be on Thursday night, and we'll come your way at 5. Note the start time. Another night game coming up at 5 this Thursday.
The only down part about seeing the same team over and over again, if you're a pitcher and you face the same opposition over. John Gant today made his 3rd appearance in Grapefruit League play. All of them have been against the Nationals so far.
Scherzer has pitched a couple of times against the Cardinals. These two teams will meet in the first month of the regular season. Here's Austin Dean. 0-1 pitch. Not happy at going after that ball. 0-2. So Alex Reyes throwing in the Cardinal pen. Cardinals have talked about the fact that even though they've had some issues with the rotation, injuries, that Reyes will indeed be working out of the pen this year. And maybe you might see some of these kind of appearances where he could be your closer. Not going to go with Jordan Hicks right off the bat. Hung that, and it's lined to left, but caught. So Dean lines out to Josh Harrison. Alex Reyes coming on when we come back. Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida, and this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cardinals and not to be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. With Brad Thompson, I'm Dan McLaughlin. We're in the studios of Fox Sports Midwest here in St. Louis. Glad that you're with us. Some Monday afternoon baseball, and here's Alex Reyes, 98 miles an hour with that first pitch. 81 of the 369 pitches that he threw last year, so 22% were clocked at 98 or faster. 15, 99 or better.
And it's just easy out of his hand. It doesn't appear to be max effort.
Is he shortened up, in your opinion?
It definitely looks like it. And when you say shorten up, you're talking about the arm swing coming back. Kind of protects the arm a little bit more. But the arm is lightning quick.
And the 0-2 pitch. Curveball taken low. We forget Alex Reyes is still only 26 years old. 15 games last year in 2020. After missing the majority of the previous 3 seasons. Right elbow, right lat, left pinky finger. Had a pec issue. The 1-2. Changeup. Beauty. 91 mile an hour changeup.
Yeah, that was my best bolt back in the day, Dan. 91. That's him pulling a string. Just a nice straight change. Same arm action as the 98 mile an hour fastball. You saw in that at bat. You saw 98. You saw the big curveball as well and a couple of changeups. Kind of a glimpse of what it could look like at some point, hopefully next year for him in the rotation. Or who knows, I mean, maybe you get creative in the second half of the season. I know the Cardinals have talked about, while it's not a magic number, would love to be able to build up the innings for Alex Reyes, maybe to get him around 100. Kind of difficult out of the pen.
One ball, one strike. Boy, it'd be tempting, wouldn't it? When you've had these issues with your rotation, KK, obviously Miles Michaelis, but to think about what Alex Reyes could look like in your rotation.
Yeah, for sure.
Tommy Edman, 2 away. Tell you what, he looks really good. Even the body language, the mannerisms, he's confident. You can see he's got confidence in everything he's throwing. Love it.
He just looks comfortable. Finally just comfortable within his body, his mechanics, his arm. The delivery is very repeatable.
There's Sanchez. Cardinals Kids Club presented by Rawlings, the exclusive fan club for kids 13 and under. It's available for you, just $33. Cardinals.com/Kids Club. And the 0-1 pitch. Alex has a brother that works at MLB Network. And I'd be ready if I'm MLB Network, to tee up some highlights of this guy, because you're going to see a bunch.
You're going to use him quite a bit.
The 0-2 pitch. And did not go. 1-2. The potential of Alex Reyes is unlimited. And I mean, you can't say that about a lot of these great prospects and players. It's just been injury riddled to no fault of his own. And the potential is just incredible.
We've been talking about it so long. I'm sure that he spent way longer as the club's #1 prospect than he wanted to.
Check swing again on a curveball. Did not go.
You think about a rotation with Jack Flaherty, potentially in another year, Alex Reyes, Matthew Liberator, potentially.
2-2. And a grounder hit up the middle. There's Edmonds spinning, throwing, and the Cardinals win it. 4-2 the final, and a 1-2-3 inning for Alex Reyes to wrap this baby up.
Pitching strong overall in this one for the Cardinals. John Gant set the tempo. Some of the young kids late in the ball game getting it done. Nolan Arenado with a couple of big hits. A solid game for the Redbirds.
With the win, the Cardinals are now 5-3. 4-2 the final, and we'll wrap things up in just a moment.